Power Project family, how's it going? Now, as you guys know, we have been talking about cold therapy for a while. Mark, Andrew, and myself, we all use Cold Plunge XLs since we're pretty big. But the Cold Plunge is amazing. And there are a lot of cold therapy tools out there. Obviously, you can use your shower. But the amazing thing about the Cold Plunge is, number one, it doesn't take up much space in your home or your backyard. And number two, you don't need to change your water, unlike other cold therapy devices, for 6 months to a year. It filters itself. Let's not even talk about all the benefits of cold plunging, like the dopamine release, how good you feel after doing it, and just the cascade of hormones that happens after you get in some really cold water. It's crazy, and we love it. So, Andrew, how can they get it?
Absolutely. You guys got to head over to thecoldplunge.com, and at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save $150 off your very own cold plunge. Again, thecoldplunge.com, links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
Do you have a small head?
Very small head.
Yeah. Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah, imagine if he just built out his shoulders to be like super crazy. Then that would be a main focus, right?
Oh man, I'm sorry, dog. You did that to yourself.
It's what it is.
But no, that's actually a good thing. It's better to have a smaller head than a bigger head.
Really?
You know, I think so.
Headphones don't work for me.
Well, you always got made fun of for having a massive melon, right?
Yeah, people call me Peanut Head as a kid. I'm still scarred. That's why I wear a hat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, won't it grow though? Like dudes who work out a bunch, don't they get bigger heads?
They're on cheeks.
Yeah, it happened to Barry Bonds.
That's cute.
Yeah, they're like, Barry Bonds' helmet used to be this size, and then it was this size.
Wait, seriously?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But then people are like,
hat size grew so big.
But then people are like, he got older, and it's like, I don't think that's normal from getting older
not
or just
that
from
big.
gaining weight.
Who was that football player on the? I know this one. The Baltimore Ravens. He was a great defensive player. And
Ray Lewis?
Was it Ray Lewis? They said like his fingers or whatever shit like grew because of potential GH.
Yeah,
Well, he was taking the
deer antler
antler
spray.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Deer antler what?
Spray. It was like HGH from deer antlers, right?
That's what they were concerned about, was the deer antler spray.
Yeah.
Not everything else.
Ray Lewis used to just fuck people up.
He was an animal.
Doesn't matter what he did or didn't do. I don't know.
It was
I don't think any deer antlers were like making some massive difference for that guy.
I know. I got on that shit as soon as I heard he was taking it.
Yeah, but it didn't help,
Really?
right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice any difference. I was like probably 19 years old.
How did you get your hands on deer antler spray at 19 years old?
I think the internet. You could buy anything on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically like trying to get a pro hormone. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
Wow.
Especially when you heard Ray Lewis was on it.
Yeah, there was like a huge pro hormone surge, like even way before that, like probably a decade before that, where you had androstenedione and all that stuff that Mark McGuire and stuff, they talked about all that stuff, and there was kids taking that shit left and right, and I think there was like real shit in some of that stuff.
Wow.
And then it was like, I don't know, the FDA like banned some of it here and there, and then they would come out with new ones. And then there was like something called Tren, and it actually had Tren in it, I think. And kids were getting like all kinds of acne, and kids were getting all kinds of swollen and big. And it was, I don't know, some weird times going on.
I used to work with a trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, and he said like when he was like 16, he went to Max Muscle, and they're like, "You want to get big?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, come to the back counter, take this. And it was like a $50 thing. And he was like, within 2 months, he gained like 30 pounds.
It's like, what the hell is this stuff?
Good old days, man. You can't do that anymore.
Max,
Bullshit.
It was things were cycling out like every 3 months because then it was illegal. They're like, well, the new one's in. Like, grab this one.
Right?
God damn. Wow.
So it was a little cold in the gym this morning, right, Andrew?
It was freezing. Yeah, it was very cold.
What was the cold plunge set at today?
It was like 42.
Oh, man.
42.
Yeah, 42.
And then what kind of guy are you, Andrew?
So when the temperature outside was its warmest during the summer, I had mine set at 55 degrees. Now that it's gotten a lot colder, I don't get in it as much, but I have it set at 60, and that is very difficult for me to get in and out of.
How do you both feel about this?
I encourage it.
Yeah.
Well,
See?
the thing that I'll
Quit
say,
bullying me.
Okay.
but the gap is you said you're not really getting into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right now it's not.
So
I'm making a lot of excuses for it. You know, it's like, oh, it's cold outside, so and it's like I would get into it because I would feel like at least 50% better after going to jiu-jitsu. Like my body would get wrecked. I'd get in the cold plunge and I'd get out of it and I'm like, dude, I feel like it's been 3 days of recovery, but it's only been, less than an hour since I was at jiu-jitsu. Now my body's getting more acclimated to it, so I'm not feeling as bad. So now I'm like, well, maybe I don't have to get in there as bad as I did a couple weeks back. So I'm making all of the excuses in the world to not get into it because I do not like being cold. Okay. But when I get in the cold plunge, I always feel better. It's just one of those things that I've gotten out of the routine because it's gotten cold. Outside, it's gotten cold. And so getting colder it just doesn't seem as attractive right now.
But you went for 42 degrees today.
And that was really, really cold. But I am happy that Nsima encouraged me to do it. And then I'm really happy that Mark coached me through it because I have never experienced anything that cold, like not even close.
Popped your cherry.
Yeah.
And Nsima turned it back on so it had the filtration.
Yeah. No, that was a really cool experience. The hands went first. Like I've never really felt the hands like completely go the way they did today, where like I'm like, oh shit, like I need to make sure they're okay. So I put my hands up just so I could feel the tub. And once I felt the tub, I was like, okay, my hands aren't like
gone.
Yeah, I didn't lose them. They're not getting frostbitten or anything. So it's like, okay, now I can drop them back in, and then it was okay. And then, like I was telling Ben on camera, like the mental side of things is just, it's not ignored, but I think it is still overlooked when it comes to the cold plunge, because you hear all these savages talking about like cold plunge in the morning and blah, 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 recovery, this and that. But for me, it's the mental side of things. I was joking around, but I'm like, hey, when you give your dog a bath, how like they freaking hate it, but afterwards they're running all over the house and they're going crazy. I'm like, that's me. Like my mood changes like that, and I am like the happiest dude you'll ever meet after I get out of the cold plunge because I feel so much better.
Totally.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, dude, it was cool. As much as I hated the seconds right before I got into the cold plunge, I'm really grateful that you guys all pushed me to get into it.
Andrew, how do you feel it's different than like maybe forcing yourself, quote unquote, forcing yourself to go to the gym or go to jiu-jitsu? Like both of those things are things that you're going to feel better after doing them. But they're just way different. Like in my opinion, they take a lot more. It takes a lot more to go lift or go run or go do jiu-jitsu in the morning than it does just to, we're fortunate to have these items at our house. And, what do you think the difference is for you?
So even if we ignore like the habitual side of things, because like coming to the gym, like we're literally at a gym every single day. So we walk out and we do stuff in the gym. That's just part of life. Jiu-jitsu is starting to become that thing where like, it's Monday. I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to go do jiu-jitsu. So let's ignore all that for just right now. In my opinion, I'll say like the resistance curve is extremely sharp with the cold plunge. Right. So like if we're thinking about the gym, it's like, fuck, I got to get up. And then, okay, now we're here and I can kind of like mellow out and get my workout in. Same with jiu-jitsu. Like after you get your first roll in, you're like kind of got a good sweat going. You feel comfortable. There's no like easing in time period to jumping in the cold plunge. It is like 100% already difficult the second you jump in that thing.
But you're also probably not going to jump out of it. Have you ever put your leg in and then gotten back out?
No, I've actually done the opposite where like my feet are kind of banged up and I'm like, I'm just going to put my feet in because like I just want to do this right now. And then you get in there and I'm like, I'm already in here. Like, let me just sit down and I'm good.
Yeah, the whole thing sucks no matter how you do it.
Yes. And that's actually what I told Nsima months ago, where I was like, I know 55 degrees is going to be difficult. Just like I know 50 degrees is going to be difficult. Just like I know 45 and so on and so forth. So I might as well just drop the temperature, but I could never get myself to do it because it's up to me. I almost wanted to text my wife and be like, hey, set this temperature between 40 and 50. Don't tell me where it's at. I'm just going to do it and just like never look at it again.
You should just put like tape over it and have Stephanie set it somewhere. I know. So you don't ever look.
Yeah. But we'll see. But no, it was fantastic. I don't know how long I was in there this morning. When I have it set to like 55 to 60, I'll hang out there for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just kind of enjoying it. Today was, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
You were there for like 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was like, it was like the feeling when I got into it the first time again. It was all over.
What do you guys think of like, cold plunging versus exercise? Obviously they're different things, but we were talking a little bit in the gym about like maybe for some people it might be a little easier just to get in a cold plunge.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on the person. Like you guys live in the gym, so like maybe the gym's easier. But for most people, yeah, you said it's like passive, right? You just like sit down in there and it's so quick. 90 seconds is a good enough plunge. Whereas a workout, you got to take time, then you're sweaty and then you shower. So it's a more time commitment. So like the ROI can be like super quick.
Yeah, my biggest resistance with working out is like actually thinking about the working out. Like I have to prep it out. Like that's a lot for me. But getting in the cold, it's like, dude, 3 minutes and you're going to feel that. Like my mind can grasp, like it's only 3 minutes away. And you say ROI, like for me, it's a lot easier.
We're also talking about how you feel after a workout. And what he's saying is like how you feel after a plunge to me is always amazing. Like you're smiling, you get it. Like you feel incredible. Sometimes after a workout, you feel worse, you know, but for a plunge, it's like every time I'm smiling. So
Yeah, after a workout, I mean, you could have kind of overdone it. You could have slightly tweaked something. And by no means are we comparing exercise and cold plunging. Like we still think you need to exercise, but we're just talking about like kind of changing your mood. And I think that it's a really simple thing, just like getting in your car and putting on music that you like or music that you enjoy or listening to your favorite podcaster. That's something that might make your drive a little bit more enjoyable. And to me, getting the cold plunge in the morning, even though it's not always the easiest thing, it's so simple that I'm like, let me just go in. And then sometimes there's that negative thing that says, you know, you got other shit to do. You got places to be. You got to, you know, and I find myself doing dad stuff, like turning lights off and like putting stuff away. And like, I don't ever do any of that. Like, so, and then I'm like, I got to just go in the goddamn, this is ridiculous. Like, what am I doing? I'm doing all this shit that I normally would never do.
Right. But then you do the thing that you're kind of afraid of, right? And the more you do that, you get the momentum and you start looking at everything. Oh, what else am I like afraid to do? What else am I avoiding? Go do that. Like if you have that rhythm, like you're a force, right?
It's helped with a lot of reinterpretation of a lot of things. Just it raining out, like I'm like driving to go do my run. Like I'm not even, it's like, okay, it's raining. Oh shit. Okay. Now it's actually pouring. All right. Well, I still am still going to do my run.
Totally.
So it's really helped with a lot of stuff. And then even just in terms of temperature regulation, I saw Paul Chek the other day talking on Instagram saying like how he thinks it's kind of ridiculous that people are so unhealthy they can't regulate their own body temperature. And I don't think that people even think or realize that A, this is a problem, and B, this is a solvable thing. When your hands are really cold all the time, I've seen Wim Hof talk about it before, this practice of putting your hands in cold water or ice for like 3 minutes. So somebody that's always cold thinking like, this is the worst thing for me to do, and my hands are always cold. I forget what the symptom is or what it's called, but they said that a lot of it can be solved simply by putting your hands in ice water for I think 3 minutes for like a week straight can really help the symptoms to go away. And it's like, holy shit, okay, that's difficult, but the outcome and the result, and that's what I'm obsessed with. That's why when I do have something that deters me from doing something slightly, I'm like, no, you want the result. Like, don't forget about the result. The result's going to be great. Like getting out of the cold plunge is going to be amazing. So just go into the cold plunge. Puts you in a warp zone.
Yeah, it does. I'm curious about this, Ryan. We've had you on before, but now since we have both of you guys on, both of you guys started this company, and you were into floating before cold plunging, and I'm assuming you guys were both into the.
We were both into float. We both own float centers.
Both you guys
That's
own
how we
float
met.
centers.
Yeah.
Okay, so like,
Float convention.
how is it that like you guys got into cold, and why is it that you found it so important that you're like, we need to build a device for this?
We each had our own like Genesis story with it. I think. I mean, for me, it was.
You talked a lot of trash about him last time.
Yeah,
He wasn't here.
I said one thing.
he smells.
He didn't shower.
Nsima smelled me when he first met me. I was like, this is strange.
I had to take a sniff because I was like, I need to make sure. Is he actually like?
It actually
smells like-
wasn't trash. It was a feature to the plunge that you actually don't need to shower anymore. So you're saving that. You're actually saving even more time.
He must have been like, why is this dude coming up and sniffing me? What the fuck? Like,
Freezing all the germs, I think, right?
I think I told Mike right after. I was like, "Hey, heads up. Few people might know you don't shower." So.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, my journey started Wim Hof documentary 2015. The Vice piece that came out, I saw it. I had no clue who Wim Hof was. Blew my mind. Watched it 2 nights in a row. Cried both nights. Was like the most hopeful, like impressionable thing that I saw. And I just started to incorporate that practice into my life with cold and breath work. I'd gone through a bout of getting sick. I started to incorporate cold. I was getting into the river here locally, getting into the American River in Sacramento.
Wow.
And, Osha Urban Baths. From Cat Floats, I even got us a membership where our employees could go get in the cold, use their facilities, and they could use ours. But it was just me going there all the time just to get in the cold. So that was kind of my journey to it. I fell in love, and Mike had the same kind of passion and love for it.
I mean, Wim's passion for it, I think, has like sparked the whole revolution. He's so convincing about it. And then I added cryotherapy to our float centers, which I heard from Rogan, and then saw so many people getting so many different types of benefits from the cold that when you see these people just like feeling amazing, like, helping their autoimmune disease, like you just notice, okay, like this is lowering inflammation. Like this is a real thing that's happening. Inflammation is like the key driver to aging. You're just overwhelmed by the science. And then I ended up going on a road trip up the Rockies, and I was just getting into cold water every day. It was like a fun thing to do. And then when I got home, I was just addicted, and I didn't have any way to get cold. And so I built an ice chest freezer. So that's what I use. That's what a lot of people do, right? Take the ice chest freezer. You put in like a pump, you put a thermostat in there so you can make a cold plunge pretty cheap. It's like the intro pack. And then, pandemic hit, closed all my spas. I had nothing to do. So I just started building cold plunges. And then, Ryan came on board. And
are you like the engineer guy with all this stuff? Because we were talking about the snorkel thing, and he was mentioning how you just built a snorkel. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Is that your background?
Yeah, like from a DIY perspective, like my dad's a big DIY guy. I went to school for engineering for a year and switched to business. Definitely engineering minded, don't have any like degree in it or anything, but I built a float tank from scratch. It's kind of how I got into floating. So I've like, screwed around with like pumps and filters and all this stuff for a long time.
I want you to build as much shit as possible so we can enjoy all these great products.
Right? Agreed.
I'm in.
Cold plunge, a sauna, a hot tub, right?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. That'd be great.
Whenever he comes up with an idea, I'm just like, okay, you go work on that. Like, I'm going to insulate you from everything else, and you go engineer this product.
Yeah. So, do you guys have, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Any plans for like an at-home float tank by any chance? Because that's something that I've always wanted to get into.
We don't have a float tank plan at this point. We have a sauna coming out. That's the next big one.
Sick.
So the sauna is pretty next level. It's very like ergonomic because most saunas are just boxes.
Yeah.
So you actually can like lean back. There's a cool angle to it. Gets up to like over 210 degrees. It's where saunas are going. Everyone
goes up to 210?
Yeah.
So it's not infrared.
No, everyone was doing the infrared thing. And it's moving to the rock sauna. You put water on it.
I love that. That's
when
what
it gets up to like 190 and you put the water on and you just get hit by that
sizzles
steam
and
you can't breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's what's up. So there's like 2 levels of benches. You can flip up the benches. It's 7 feet by 4 feet. Now you got an area just to do movement. We do kettlebells in the sauna. It's the shit.
We made the door big enough that you could put like a Rogue or an assault bike in there.
What is that? Laird Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
That motherfucker works out in there, right?
Exactly.
He like puts like oven mitts on or something and like exercises in there. I heard. Yeah, he's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Kelly Starrett was like our inspiration. We went and worked out with him, and then he was like showing us these workouts. We're like, how sick would it be if we could like get this shit in there?
Yeah.
So that's when the whole like engineering of it kind of like, how do we make this active sauna?
Yeah.
So that's the
Kelly and Juliet Starrett. They both have great practices. They both do the cold. They both do the sauna. They're both super active on their bikes and hiking and all that stuff.
Totally. They make it fun. They like make it like you always talk about like low barrier to entry. It's just like, how do you make this inviting as opposed to like dogmatic or rigid?
Yeah,
Just
stuff
like,
they get to do together. And it's like, I'm sure maybe there's some days where one of them maybe doesn't want to do it that much, but the other one's encouraged to do it, right?
Totally. Exactly. Yeah, they're a blast to hang out with, kick it with.
How is cryotherapy comparing to cold plunging? Because I remember when I was in college, we'd go to cryotherapy every now and then, and I honestly did not feel much of a difference personally, even though a lot of people swear by it. But cold plunging just feels way more effective than cryotherapy. I don't know if it's because of how cold the water is in your skin, but you know?
Yeah, I mean, cryotherapy, there's also different machines too. So like we have one that actually gets your head. The cold is in the whole chamber. It gets down to negative 220. So that one works better than the ones that are just like shoulders down, obviously. But yeah, with the cold, it's just a higher dose. Like the water is so much more conductive. It's getting like deeper into your body. It's just going to be like probably like 3x of a dose, you know? Obviously the cryotherapy really does work. It's just kind of like lighter doses, you know?
What's a starting price for some of the products you have? What's a starting price for a cold plunge?
$5,000 for the basic cold plunge.
Yeah.
I think when people think about that, like obviously that is a big chunk of money. But what I think is for somebody that has pain, like physical pain, hips, knees, lower back, to me, it's like one of the greatest things you can get. I know for myself with the running that I've been doing, a lot of times I just put my lower leg in there before I run. Maybe about 3 times a week I go in fully submerged. But I put my legs in there a lot before a run, after a run. And it's really helping keep the inflammation down. So I know like a lot of athletes are kind of hungry to do some of this stuff, and they're encouraged to do it because they want to stay active, they want to stay on the court, or they want to stay on the field, or they want to continue to run. But I think for your average person that's just in pain, or maybe they have some psychological pain, I think it can be transformative. I mean, I've seen documentaries where I was watching something with Chris Hemsworth. Like Chris Hemsworth wasn't with me while I was watching it. He was in the actual series. He was featured. And there was a woman that went out on the ice, and she cut out this little tiny triangle in the ice, and she goes down, and she is like a deep diver, and she's going into this freezing cold water. And it's all just to help restore her mental health. And that's not the first time I've seen that. I've seen that many times and heard that many times from people that are going into the cold plunge. So, okay, $5,000. Yes, there's a cost associated with that, but this could be like a life-altering product for some people.
I mean, we see it every day into the people, like the testimonies that people call in and things we hear. It's the coolest part of the gig.
Yeah.
Like actually getting to hear what this is doing to people's lives. And it is. I mean, we're very mindful that it's, $5,000. It's a big investment for a lot of people. We try and work around that with payment plans and financing options and things like that. But, our big thing is how do we educate, whether you're just learning about it now, and maybe it's not in the price range now, but like maybe you save up and in a year and a half from now, you have that opportunity to get it. But really just like educating, like what is this doing for people? And it's like, it's a gauntlet, whether it's autoimmune disorder, we see that a massive like impact early on with that. The mental health side, we just did a piece with a woman that was, antidepressants using it. And then she just started plunging and actually use that as her medicine. And she'll do 1 plunge a day. She's off antidepressants. She'll do 2 plunges a day on high anxiety days.
I think Andrew's noticed a difference in his own mental health, right?
Yeah. And like, I don't know, I can't tally up all the amount of money that I've used to try to like keep these dark clouds away from me. But it's been a lot, okay? Like a lot of shit that I've tried to keep like the anxiety and depression to go away.
Nootropics and a bunch of
tons of nootropics. Yeah. Legal and illegal shit. Put it that way. But everything is like not even close. Like I could have a bad day or whatever. I could be okay, and then just getting into the cold plunge, it snaps everything. Like I said is like look at my backyard and it's like all doom and gloom and gray, and it just like I just don't feel it. I get in there, I start breathing, and then like, dude, seriously, like because I do keep it a little bit warmer. About 2-3 minutes in, I open my eyes and I'm like, holy shit, dude, my backyard is beautiful. I start like getting super grateful for like everything in my life all of a sudden. And it's like, I'll see my son like yelling through the window or something, like, dude, I can't wait to get out of here and go tackle him. Like everything just gets way better once I get out of the cold plunge. Dude, it is night and day. Yeah.
With something like yoga, you'll hear an instructor say, be in the present moment, come to your center line. And they say these things. And for some people, when you do that practice and you get used to that practice, you can feel that and you can feel great. But it's a little bit of like, you need to practice it to feel it. It's not the case with the cold. You get yourself freezing fucking cold and you have no choice but to be in the present moment. You have to be present. You have to start to pay attention to your breath until maybe you start to get used to it. And then after a while, you could be in there and just whistling and going under the water and breathing through a straw. But at first, it's like, man, you don't have much of a choice other than to kind of like shiver and tighten up. And then you start to learn, like, I can interpret this differently over time. I can get used to this stress. And over time, I can become stronger. Just like we can, any news or anything that we hear, you can start to inoculate yourself to stress over time.
I think it's a great barometer to where you're at from a stress, like how you intake stress at that moment in life. And it changes for me. Like some days, like I can drop in and surrender and I can just roll with a 7-minute plunge and I'm just in my breath. And other days I'm fighting it. And it's actually a really good like check-in of like, oh wow, like you are stressed out right now. Like your mind is not calm.
That's interesting. So you almost like feel it more.
The intensity of it.
Maybe it stings more. You know how when you first get in, it like stings where you're like, that's not normal. I need to get out.
I think it's like to me, it's like, when I can accept things more, stress washes over me. When I'm not accepting the cold or I'm not surrendering into it, which I think is a big thing. We watch women can surrender into the plunge a lot better, and this is generalization, than I think some men. Men want to get in and like fight it. Like, oh, I'm here to do the tough thing. It's like, it will win. When are you going to let go and actually start to breathe into it? And that's, I think, one of the greatest teachers of it is it will teach you how to breathe and how to actually succumb to the environment. And like, it's about surrendering. If you want to fight the cold, it's just, your body's going to keep fighting it and it's going to be extremely uncomfortable. So it's a generalization that I've noticed over time that women are a little better at surrendering than men to.
It's a cool perspective though. That's the game, is the surrender. We actually have an app coming out in a few months and you can tap into your Whoop or your Aura, your Apple Watch, and it'll feedback your heart rate. So you get in, it's going to spike to like 100, and the game is how calm can you get your heart rate? Right.
Wow.
So you want to slow down your breathing. And that's the whole game. Right now, it's all I have is my breath. I don't know what my heart rate is, but I'm tapped. I can feel it, right? You know how relaxed you are. So for me, like you compared it to meditation, like it's just this super intense meditation. Yeah. It's just very unique, but the feedback is so strong. Whereas when you're just sitting there meditating, it's like your thoughts are just so subtle. Whereas in there,
you have to be kind of good at it.
You have to
be kind of good at meditation in order to meditate. Like it takes, not to start, but after a while, you got to start to get better at meditating so you can like feel the positive, good effects of it. Totally. Probably why so many people give up, because they start thinking about other stuff. Again, when you freeze yourself like that, you're kind of forced into. What happened over there, Andrew? I think you might have shut down that. No, I think we're still on. Something weird happened over there. You okay? Yeah. Andrew just took a nosedive. But again, it forces you to be in the moment. It forces you to have to pay attention.
You come out with the same state of like meditation. It's like a back door. If you don't meditate, like get in the cold plunge and you like come out 3 minutes later and you're...
We're big on the back door.
Very big on the back door.
This is it. This is the back door. You come out in that state.
Podcast. The back door podcast.
The Backdoor Podcast?
Yeah.
What are we doing with the Backdoor on that Backdoor Podcast?
We didn't start it yet.
Sorry.
My mouth's getting a little numb right now.
Is that your first sip, or did you already drink some of it?
No, I'm almost done.
You guys both love the flavor of the Mind Bullet Potion,
That's so
right?
cool.
It's interesting.
I think we just like mind altering experiences.
I was gonna say.
Huberman actually made some content on cold plunging, and he was talking about how like the dopamine release is similar to cocaine, but also Anna Lemke talked about it in her book. We had her on the podcast a few years ago, how certain people who had certain addictions, not saying that the cold plunge is going to cure your addiction, but by starting the practice of cold plunging, they were able to replace certain addictions that they had that were negative with cold. So it was something that allowed them to flip-flop, and that's a big deal. You know what I mean?
Huge.
It's crazy.
I think what he's talking about with the mental health is the dopamine release is so huge and it's long lasting too. It lasts for hours. And I know when you have like a traumatic childhood, your dopamine like sort of like levels that are just normal actually can get much lower. And so when you're cold plunging, it can like raise it up to like more normal levels and can really be kind of the mental health component is that dopamine.
It gives
increase.
you a big dosage of accomplishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't know if people get in touch with enough. I always say I was blessed to have great parents. And so my parents didn't like reward me for like not doing, anything in particular. Like they didn't overemphasize something that wasn't well done. But when I did something that was well done, or if I did something that they asked and I did it to my best of my ability, they did make a big deal about it. So I've always felt accomplished. And then as I moved into sports and stuff like that, I put in good efforts with that. And playing football, I focused on lifting to be better at football. And so I felt like I had some good accomplishments. And then later on with powerlifting, kind of same thing. But I think there's some people that have not only like never hit a home run, but they never hit a single. They never got to first base. They never got the pat on the back. And I was just fortunate to play some sports when I was young, to have 2 older brothers and just have a really loving family around me. And I know a lot of people don't have that. And so where can they feel, maybe they didn't have an athletic background. Maybe they didn't have. So it's like, how does somebody else get that momentum into accomplishment? Yeah, sure, they could, hop on their bike, or they could start running or something like that. Maybe they can find something that way. But I think this is another way of like giving yourself, this is a win right off the bat. You wake up in the morning.
Totally.
You got to, hit up that cold plunge. That's not easy, but it's an accomplishment. Like that's massive. You accomplished something. You did something.
Especially when I do it first thing in the morning, so you get that early. But again, we put on workshops. We've done it with our company, with staff. We put on workshops for other people. But like that first time, like when you do it in a group and you come out, like, it is truly like, it is something that you didn't think you could do. And now you've done it. And you have, like you said, it's that momentum. You get that new thing that I am capable of this. Like my mind didn't think I could do this 2 to 3 minutes earlier. And it's such a short window. Like the things you talked about, powerlifting, some of these, to see results, that can take, it's a different level of discipline into the commitment you have to make, which is a great thing in its own way. It's different. But cold plunging, it's like, give me 2 minutes. And you can have that accomplishment like immediately from that. So I think that's a very powerful thing that people that don't have momentum, like you can just 2 minutes and you will see something on the other side that is very quick to actually feel that level of accomplishment.
Andrew, do you remember Nsima, how fired up he was when he told us like that he went in for like 20 minutes and stuff like that?
He would come in here and
how
like,
euphoric he was, how euphoric you were. You were fucking.
He smiles often, but during that time, I mean, he was like literally jumping off the walls, like telling us.
And
how
this is
good
a guy
it was.
that's won bodybuilding competitions. He's doing really well in jiu-jitsu, did well in powerlifting. So he's had a lot of accomplishments, done really well. And he's feeling the effects like that. I mean, I remember he left us a voice message. He was so pumped. He was like, guys, I don't know what happened, but I'm like learning how to breathe in this thing. And like, I went in for 8 minutes. And then the next time he was like, I was in for 20 and it wasn't shit. I was able to handle it. Like, I don't understand what's going on. He was so pumped.
What do you credit? Is it the breath of how you're breathing in it?
Yeah.
How you're.
I think that's how it started. And then you don't really need to breathe the same way anymore, right?
Yeah, like when you said you discovered cold, it started with me like looking up Wim Hof stuff because he has this whole breathing thing. And the first day that I did the Wim Hof breathing in there, obviously be careful when you do that. Like
100%.
hold. But I remember that I was struggling to be in there for like 2 or 3 minutes. It's like at 2 minutes, I was like, get the fuck out, right? But when I started doing Wim Hof breathing in there, I was like, whoa. 5 minutes went by and I could stay in here. Let me just get out. And then the next day I did it again. I was like, I'm in here for 8 minutes. I'm in here for 12 minutes. And like Mark mentioned, I was like, I can just stay in here. But the cool thing is that now I don't need to do Wim Hof breathing anymore to cold plunge for a long time. It's weird. I used to need it to cold plunge for long periods of time, but now I don't know if I'm cold adapted and maybe I'm just more used to it, that I don't need to do the Wim Hof breathing to be able to be comfortable in cold. And the other thing that's really dope is, I don't know who was talking about it, but they were mentioning how I was mentioning this to you, Mike. When you get cold adapted, maybe you don't want to stay cold adapted. You want to have periods where you don't use it so that you have that shock again to the cold. But every time I finish cold plunging, I always feel amazing. That state change is just like, boom, go do your shit. It just feels great. And that's never gone away. You know what I mean? That's why it's such an addictive thing, because you know once you're out of here, you can just blast off to whatever it is you need to do, you know? It's wild.
We're made for it, right?
Yeah.
We've been getting in cold water since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
It's like, if you think about what killed most humans a long time ago, it's probably the cold, right? So how have we evolved to survive in those scenarios? It's throwing every neurotransmitter and hormone that's going to make you optimistic to get out of you're probably on a frozen lake and it cracks and you fall in. How does the human being survive that situation? Dopamine, norepinephrine, like everything, right? Metabolism, your blood goes to your brain and your core to keep it warm. And then, so it's just everything it's the whole cocktail, you know?
I think about that all the time. How did we survive? Like, imagine just like not having shoes and there's like ice and snow on the ground. Like, how the fuck? And you're hungry and you got to hunt. I don't,
We're definitely like the inverse of it now. It's like, I look at the ancestors, it's like,
they
weren't looking to get in cold water. You know, it's like when they're not in cold water, they're like, I'm fucking chilling.
Yeah.
And now we chill all the time. It's like, okay, I need a cold plunge to get in cold water.
So again, in that Chris Hemsworth thing, he fasts for 4 days and they got Peter IT on there. It's really cool. There's some of the information that they show. And they show they go to a tribe in Africa. I don't know if
they always got to go to a tribe in Africa.
I don't know if I'm saying this right. The Hadza.
It's the Hadza. Yeah.
It's the motherland. Where else are we gonna go?
So I was just thinking, like, how dumb would those guys think if you explained to them that you're doing like
I didn't
4
eat
days?
for 4 days.
Yeah. That's life.
This guy's killing a rabbit with a fucking bow and arrow. He's probably like, and he's celebrating, obviously, because they're excited that they got food, but. He's probably like, you're doing what? You're choosing not to eat, and there's all that fucking food everywhere? Are you retarded? What are you
Oh my God, dude.
I sent you over the Wim Hof thing. You just play maybe just a couple seconds of it. It's cool to hear his voice.
Whatever it takes, relax. Are you ready?
I am.
Here we go.
And there's also an app,
Round
guys.
number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Just go with the flow.
Do you
of
guys
the
do
breath.
Wim Hof breathing when you plunge?
Not when I plunge.
You can stop it there. It's pretty much just that, and you do about 30 breaths of that, and you blow some air out, and then you hold. And he recommends to hold for like a minute, I think, is the first one, and then there's another round where you release your air and you hold for like 90 seconds and stuff. And I think it's effective. I also think it's kind of a lot for someone to do in a cold plunge. So I don't really recommend that you do it in a cold plunge. You might want to try it before you get in.
Totally.
But the way that I do that in the cold, though, is I will do the breathing. I'll do about 30 breaths, just like I did today. I demonstrated it. I blow the air out. I hold for like 20, 30 seconds. And then I breathe in, hold for another 15 seconds. And once you do that one round, something happens to your body where everything, you get a little numb to the cold. I don't know if it's just because you're distracted, or I don't know if it has to do with the CO2 and oxygen ratio.
I think you're bringing a lot of warmth to like the intercostal region.
That's what it feels like.
It feels like you have a heater that's starting up in here.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. And like you said, it's like, obviously, if you're going to do it, make sure other people are around, because you are kind of redlining your body into like the breath holds and things like that. But yeah, it's a great way to warm up after or even before, kind of generate the body, generate some warmth in the body, and then get in there. So it's, his breath, just him for a second, like that guy, he's incredible human. Like he built this world. Everyone called him crazy.
Did his wife, did she commit suicide?
She did.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of, I think she was bipolar, a lot of mental health stuff. Yeah. So he set out on a mission to kind of, why does the body go through this?
And I think he like randomly just jumped into a cold lake one day or something, right?
Yeah, it was very like simple genesis. And he said the cold was like his teacher. It was like this like godly teacher that was just kind of teaching him how to breathe and be. And that was like the start of it all. And that's, he's made it so, to me, genius is simplicity, and he's made this so simple. He doesn't overthink it. He's as big as he's gotten. It's still very, very simple. But just him for so long, he was the crazy guy, like ridiculed, shot down. He is an anomaly. This is not what humans think. There was no belief that we could control our nervous system. Science had that was just, you're crazy. And he stuck with it to bring us to this type of conversation where now we have access to this modality, to this health for ourselves. And I get fired up on him because it's just like a guy that like kept sharing, it was like, I don't care what you call me. Like I care enough about people that I'm going to get this message out there that you guys all understand that I am not unique. And this is this is our like God-given right and what we can do with our body.
I think it's easy to point out, to say someone's crazy, or to say that you think someone's dumb, or to just like automatically feel that someone's trying to pressure you to do something, or because it's new information that you've never seen or heard before. You're like, I've never heard this before. This is dumb. Like this isn't.
Where's the research?
Yeah, where's the research? And we're guilty. We thought the same thing of fasting and some other things. Over the years, I'm definitely still that way. You're going to be a little guarded, but I think we have to be really careful on having it negatively impact our ability to learn and absorb new information. Because new information is out there, it's circling around us all the time. And I think someone like Wim Hof presenting the cold, like he clearly was right. He's been pushing this narrative for a long time. And finally it started to get through. And it's like, it takes somebody until they get on like Joe Rogan or until they get on a big time TV show for them to be able to kind of get that message all the way out there. But if you're paying attention and you're listening, there's people that have good messages. And look, just most of the time it's just like, try some of this stuff. Intermittent fasting. Just try to skip breakfast. Just
or
give
do
it a
what
shot.
he did, and he's just listening to his body, right? He's not looking for someone else's research to prove. He's going, no, I feel it. I feel it inside me. And so we always say that with the plunge, like, what temperature should you start at? How long should you do? Listen to your body, and if it feels good, keep doing it, right? Like, you don't have to go find the research for everything in your life. Like, if it's feeling good, cool, lean into it,
That's why I think like we should start to trust our intuition more, because there's a weird side of it where it's uncomfortable and it doesn't necessarily, it's not pleasurable when you're doing it. And naturally we want to seek things that are comfortable. So the cold plunge in and of itself is an odd device because you're going after discomfort. But the really awesome thing is that you become more resilient over time because you sought out something that was really uncomfortable and really non-pleasurable in the moment to do.
Totally.
You know?
It's no different than working out. It's like you're working out, you're building your muscle up you're actually you're tearing your muscle down so it grows back stronger. At the end of the day, you're doing that in a cold plunge. You are, you're getting a dump of adrenaline, your nervous system's on fire. Well, it's like now you're just expanding the breath that you can, like figuratively, like the breath that you can, stress that you can handle. So I think it's very similar to working out.
I'd like to challenge people too to like prove themselves wrong a little bit. When you go on a run or you go to do something, challenge yourself just a tiny bit more than normal, and you'll be shocked at what you can do. I remember the first time that I squatted 705 in a competition. I remember doing my opening attempt, which was like 633, and then I think I went 661, and then I went 705. When I did the 633, I got so much pressure in my head at the bottom of the squat. And then I did the lift successfully and I racked it, and I was like, oh man, I don't know, like anything heavier than that. Like, I don't think I'll be able to do that. And I was like, well, you put your attempt in and just like see how you feel and just go out there and just give it a go. So I did the next one, kind of same thing, but the pressure was a little bit more because there was more weight. Went out for 705 and did that one successfully as well. But when I was done, I was like, I'll never lift more than that. I don't understand how people lift more than that. Like that amount of pressure was crazy. I can't, there's no possible way. Like I kind of counted myself out, And then I did the competition and then, talked to other lifters and stuff after a while. And they're like, oh dude, it's not a huge deal. You'll get used to the pressure. And then years later ended up squatting over 1,000 pounds many times in competition.
Yeah, you built that baseline up. We were talking about it before the podcast. It's like you experience it once. It's so unique. It's so foreign. It's almost overwhelming. Well, that soon will become your baseline. Like you want to play on that edge.
Have you gotten that before in jiu-jitsu? Like when you were starting, like when somebody, put their elbow or knee on you, were you like, I don't get it. I don't like, you'll never get used to that.
Well, there was the aspect of like having that type of pressure, but there's also just the fact that none of it made sense. So you're getting tapped by so many people that don't strength train and people that are like half your size are consistently making me tap. And it didn't feel like I'd ever understand it. You know what I mean? But over time, doing it more, you get better, you improve. And that's kind of, the cool thing with cold plunging, because the first time I did it, I don't think I was in there for up to a minute and a half. I think I was in there for maybe a minute. I was like, I'm fucking getting out, because it just feels like you're getting stung. When you first start cold plunging, like the sensation, it just doesn't feel good. But you do it a little bit more, and you get used to it, and you realize how good you feel. It's just, again, it's a fucking addictive feeling. I was curious about the autoimmune stuff that you guys were talking about a bit, because I want, like, you guys probably get so many people that call in and send you guys reviews and just how it's helped them. But what kind of stuff have you seen as far as autoimmune issues and how it's helped? And maybe why is it helping with that?
It's lowering the inflammation. Is number one.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, our sales guy, Michael, has MS.
Same.
So he's in like 2-3 times a day, and I mean, he just feels way better. Do you have any other like?
I mean, I think to me, what I'm noticing, it's like autoimmune tends to be a imbalance of the nervous system. It's like whether it's parasympathetic, sympathetic, like your body, there's an imbalance going on in the body.
Yeah.
Cold is a way to balance that. I mean, like Doug Steiny, he was a guy that was on his deathbed. He's a Wim Hof practitioner. We've had him in to teach at our company. His story is incredible. He was one that was a realtor, high stress lifestyle, farthest from breath work, cold plunging, any of it. Thought he was fine. Within 48 hours, he was paralyzed in a hospital, and they were like, we don't know if you'll ever walk again or if you'll live. We don't know what to do for you. Sent him home, paralyzed in his house for months. He had young children. He was in his 60s at that time, so he had kids a little later. And I mean, it's on YouTube. It's an incredible story. And his son found out about Wim Hof and was like, Dad, there's a guy that doesn't get sick and he can heal himself. And that was, from his 9-year-old son, that was the story. And he was like, okay, that doesn't. So his dad's like, his son was like, all you got to do is get cold. You got to get in cold water. And so they would wheel him in, plop him into the shower, and just splash cold water on him.
Yeah.
Within, I mean, I don't want to butcher it was within like 6 to 8 weeks. He was moving, walking. He is now can do the splits, overhand, like he could snatch anything. It is the epitome of health.
Yeah.
And this was deathbed to all he did was they rolled him in, poured cold water on him. He learned to breathe in there. And, his body adapted and kind of rebalanced itself from like a nervous system standpoint. So I think there's, it varies per person in what they're going through, but that to me is we see that group have the quickest results. Like they get it a weekend. I'm noticing a massive difference. So it's an area that we would like to, from research and study, like kind of figure out what's going on there. But it's when someone calls in and they're like, I think I'm gonna get into the plunge. I've lost all hope. I don't know what route to go. I get really excited when I hear about those people because it's like, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a big difference for people that are really, really resistant to it having maybe a stronger impact for some of them? People who are like, there's just cold and me, like we don't mix. Like
that's my girlfriend.
I can't do it. I'll never do it. I'll never try it. Like, and then if there is some sort of encouragement and they do actually get in, have you noticed like a profound difference for some of those folks?
I think what we notice is like partners, like, the husband wants it. The wife's like, I don't want this thing. Like, it's going to take up space. Well, he gets it. She gets in with him for the first time, and then she becomes the one that's doing it all the time. So I think from a resistance standpoint, I haven't really seen anyone that's resistant unless their mental like how they perspective on life, they just are all about the resistance and they go into it. Usually it takes someone that kind of backdoors it in for them that gets them to want to get in. It's not one that's, it takes a mental resilience to actually be like, I want to get into a cold plunge, or I'm willing to.
My wife pulled a fast one on me one day. She's like, did you see that Hannah Eden got into the cold plunge?
Set you up.
And I was like, no. She's like, you're totally lying. I'm like, I saw it. Yeah. I was like, all right.
I saw it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't stop and look at it. I saw it as I'm
I just went
scrolling.
right past it on my feed. I didn't look.
Yeah. I was like, what do you want me to do? She's beautiful. And he's like, she's really hot. So
Shout out Hannah.
God damn.
Set up.
You got set
Yeah,
up.
I hate those setups like that.
Hannah and Paulo, we love you both.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good save.
I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. Though, I just fall for that kind of stuff all the time.
Power Project family, quality sleep can make everything with your health and fitness easier, which is why we've partnered with Hostage Tape. Now, we've been talking about mouth tape for years and nasal breathing for years. But one of the problems that we've had with tape is we all like to rock facial hair, and a lot of the mouth tapes we would use would fall off of our face at night. Hostage Tape doesn't fall off your face if you have a beard or if you're not a man and you don't. I'm joking. You don't need a beard, right? But either way, Hostage Tape makes sense. It'll stick to your face when you're asleep. You'll have better quality sleep because you're breathing through your nose all night long. It is a no-brainer. And if you head to hostagetape.com/Power Project, you'll be able to get the Power Project annual deal, which is a year's supply of Hostage Tape for 55 cents a day. You'll be saving $150 on the typical yearly deal. You're going to get 2 free tins and a blindfold. It's a no-brainer. So head there right now and get yourself some Hostage Tape. Links in the description along with the podcast show notes. Shut your fucking mouth when you sleep. Enjoy the show. You know, this whole thing though, because dog, for example, Mind Bullet, you feel really good, right? When we're coffee, you feel really fucking good after drinking a cup of coffee. I think some people find it somewhat ridiculous that it's like super cold water. Are you guys serious? Is this legit? Just getting into cold water is doing all this shit for you? But it is really wild, like what it's doing for people and what it's done for us. Like it's just getting into some 40-degree water. It makes a huge difference, and it's just temperature, dog.
Right.
You know?
We were at the what is the bulletproof, the conference we went to, the biohacking conference. With the biohacking conference, we had the cold plunges set up, and you walk around, and it's all of these interesting devices and technology.
Red light for your balls.
Liposomal, red light for your balls, and all this engineering and science going on. And we're out there on the way home to the restaurant after. I was like, just comical, dude. We brought cold water to this thing, and like we had a line of people to get in. Like, oh my god, you guys have the cold plunge. It's like, yeah, it's cold water. It's like the simplest, like most natural thing ever, you know. And it's like basically the best thing you can possibly actually do at the Bulletproof conference.
It's too simple. It's like
so simple.
We have a guy at our company. He's he does a lot of maintenance around the facility. So he maintenances our gym now, so where the cold plunges are. So we have this program at our company where we pay our staff to plunge. If they plunge X number of times a month, we like pay them money. We want them doing it. Yeah,
That's
it's a way to engage them and get them doing it. And,
Cool.
And so, anyways, now he's in the gym a lot more. And so he was in the gym, and he came out, and now he's lost a lot of weight, and he's losing more weight. And he's like, you know what? I thought for months this was snake oil. And he's like, now I'm getting into it. And he's like, so it's so exciting that to hear him where he was like, this is bullshit. Like, these guys are so passionate about this cold water, and now he's doing it. He's like, all right, I get it. I understand what's going on here.
Another amazing thing to sell is fasting. What'd you come to the conference with? Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're just not eating.
Yep, we're not selling anything.
Yeah.
But you can sign up here, give us your email, and we'll get you ready to rip.
Have you guys played around with fasting? I remember you mentioned, I think that you do. And what's your experience with it?
A little bit, just some 3-day fasts here or there, nothing crazy, but
nice.
That is crazy to some people.
It's an interesting ride, right? Because I feel so depleted at first, and then you get over some kind of hump, and all it's like now it's like, wait, I have like more energy than ever. Like, what's going on here? So that was interesting.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
And you do quite a bit of fasting, right? Or intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I've done some. I go through my phases and seasons with it. I think right now it's more of like, kind of restrictive eating windows and things like that for myself, like, hours before bed, and then trying to get that 16 hours kind of 8-hour eating window is like more of life now. But yeah, I've done some extended fasts as well. Same thing, different results every time too. That's always been my body like has big time reactions and I'm like shitting the whole time and doing this, and other times it's like massive clarity in the head. So it's definitely a reflection of where the body's at that moment.
I think that's where you get to where you're just like, I don't even know if I really fast, but you're doing 14 to 16 hours probably fairly regularly without even noticing it anymore.
Yeah, totally. Right. I overeat. And so yes, like that is my thing.
It's fun to go to dinner with Ryan because you're getting 3 apps and then he's getting 2 dinners.
It's like, you want that? Never. Like I want everything. I want it all.
We're glad we don't have that problem.
We're so disciplined.
If you guys don't know, that was a lie. Yes, that was a lie.
It's the thing. So this is like a hack for me of like 8 hours. Like you're eating in and outside, and I can't eat. I can get full, but I get full for that window, and then it's done, and I'm out, and I gotta chill out for a bit, sit on the sidelines.
Yeah. What do you guys notice? Because you're coming out with a sauna. So obviously I go to Asha all the time because they have a sauna there. I like going between the cold and the heat, but like, do you guys notice some type of difference when you go from sauna to cold plunge back and forth, or how do you guys practice that?
The sauna, the cold's intense.
Yeah.
When you get in the 190s and you get in the really hot sauna going to the cold, you almost have to like take a moment in between sometimes because you can have some really strong reactions to the
That's
cold.
happened to me. Like I've had when I went back and forth, when I came out of the cold, room started spinning. I had to just take a seat.
Yep.
Because your blood pressure's just going all the way up and down. You kind of get lightheaded.
Yeah.
But I mean, sauna's great. I don't know. Love doing them both, hot and with the cold. Always recommend ending with the cold, but
it's definitely like a intense. It's a lot on the body.
Yeah.
So if you're doing contrast every day, I don't know if that's quite the move. I mean, some people are. It's like, for me, I have the sauna at the house. It's cold plunge every morning, and then I'll do contrast like a few. It's mostly I do sauna, and then I just kind of end on cold and just kind of get the core body temperature back down a bit. But it's, there's, like I said, it's pretty taxing metabolically on the body to be doing both.
I will say, because there's going to be someone who's going to comment, but you want the inflammatory response after you work out. There's been research to show that it blunts hypertrophy. Mark, what do you think about it? I'm just curious, dog.
I think it's crap, man. I think, consistency is king. So, fit stuff in wherever you can. Yeah. And I don't know exactly how this research paper was done. I never really looked at it. I never really tend to care about the research of stuff. I think it's overblown a lot of times. And let's just say hypothetically that it shows 1 hour after training that maybe it has detrimental effects on your hypertrophy. It's like, how many people have access to the cold, literally 1 hour after training? Plus, how do we know that, okay, maybe it showed that it didn't have a positive impact on hypertrophy in this condensed period of time with these particular people? But how do we know, over time, over the 6-week period, that the overall benefits of the cold still didn't have more of a positive impact on people? So I don't really love to look at that kind of stuff, but I have changed for myself when I get into the cold, but that actually has more to do with just my activity in the morning. I've been running every morning, and so I was like, I want to try to amplify my run. I was trying coffee and some kratom and stuff. I was like, let me just get into the cold like that. Nothing's going to fire me up better than that, because sometimes coffee will work. Sometimes a little caffeine works, and other times it doesn't land on me perfectly. So. And then plus I don't want to have any digestion issues as I'm running. So let me just hit that cold plunge up for 3 minutes. But I don't think there's really a big concern about muscle hypertrophy.
And I might be way off, but I think that one of the studies, at least that people point to, if you actually dive into it, it was something they did a run or a workout, whatever. And they put 1 foot into an ice bucket. And they were showed that oh, your left and right are a lot different. Therefore, cold plunging is bullshit. It's whoa. And again, I could be way off, but I'm pretty sure memory serves me correctly on that one.
No, totally. They were putting their calf in the cold, one calf.
Okay.
Measured the size of the muscle growth. Yeah.
So,
That was it.
so if you want to base a lot of your belief in this one fucking study that I think we can all agree was like not done properly.
Again, how many people are very specifically also training for hypertrophy? So if you're super worried about it, I guess you can just not cold plunge on that particular day after your workout.
No, I think that's a good. I mean, if you're training for some competition, like maybe you want to bring that in. I think for the average person, to me, it's a long game. Like, am I trying to show back up tomorrow and like get my workout in? Like you're talking about jujitsu, like
absolutely.
You know, you're capable now to go again. I think that's where most of us lie. But yeah, if you have a massive bodybuilding competition, maybe you don't do it right after a workout. I don't know. I don't think we have enough really research to understand that. But I think to me, it goes back to like listening to our bodies. Like, how do I feel after if I work out in cold plunge, like measure yourself over that month. Like, am I still working out hard? Am I feeling good in my body? To me, that's the most important thing. And if the answer is yes, then I think it's a great program, as opposed to like, I can't do it because of this paper said that.
And these practices have been around forever. I mean, athletes have been doing this for a long time, but just people there wasn't like cold plunge companies. There was like, I guess there were maybe different versions of them, but there was like, the 49ers and all these teams, they've had versions of some sort of cold plunge or some sort of ice bath after their training. And I realize that's after conditioning maybe and not necessarily after strength, but people have been utilizing these techniques for many, many years.
Totally. And I think, again, just find out, discover it. Like, people got to go and kind of see how their body responds to it. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah. And definitely like because it's not like we're shitting on research, but like I'm someone who I'll pay attention to it. Right. So like if I lifted, sometimes I'll only cold plunge for 30 seconds to a minute. Like I won't usually cold plunge for 3 minutes or 4 minutes like I typically do in the morning. Do 30 seconds to a minute because I just feel better.
Exactly.
And then boom, keep the progress going. Because if you're worried about that, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's very comfortable. It's Lulu. It's fleece.
God, that feels good.
Lulu.
You guys got to feel that.
Hit us up, guys. But dude, it is really crazy how much better you feel, especially after like a hard jujitsu workout or Mark, a hard run. Cold plunging for a little bit, just you can tell the recovery difference on a day-to-day basis. And I kind of think about that, like if you are a lifter, one thing to think about is what if you're able to work out more often and with more volume because you feel better each day. So you're doing a 5-week training program, usually you feel beat up on the next day you have to work out and the next day you have to work out. But let's say that now the next day you feel a little bit fresher and you can move more training volume. I don't know. There's been no research into that, but maybe the amount of more volume you're able to work with counteracts the slight inflammatory, response or decrease inflammation that you get from cold plunging. It's just test it out and see what you actually feel, because sometimes this research is bullshit.
Yeah, and you cannot deny like how much better your workout is when you're just feeling good, like when you're literally like in a good mood. Like the music's hitting today, like the coffee was hitting today, or the pre-workout, whatever. And then you're like, dude, I just had such a good day, and then I had such a good workout. It's like, well, what if you can have a good day every time you went to work out? It's like, absolutely.
Just something to try.
And I don't want to, overhype it, but the experience that I've had, a lot of times it feels like, at least in the moment, a couple moments after I get out of the cold plunge, it feels like my workout is washed away. Like I don't feel the fatigue. I don't feel the pain. Maybe I had a little something in my back, maybe something in the shoulder. All of that shit's gone. I mean, at that point, you're just kind of like thinking like, I need to fucking get warm. That's kind of more what's on your mind. I actually had my daughter put her leg in there because she wouldn't get in all the way, but her ankle was bothering her after some volleyball. And she goes in and she's, in there for like 90 seconds or so. And she comes out and I was like, well, she goes, well, my leg is completely numb. I was like, all your problems are solved. She's just looking at me like, I don't think so. But it does help a lot. For me, it helps a lot with, I'll get some edema, some swelling in a lower leg when I start to run further. If I run, 8 miles, 10 miles, 12 miles, that kind of thing. And there's only a few things that really help it. Compression helps a lot. So like the Normatec boots can help a lot. Just kind of wrapping my leg can help. like compression sock type of thing can help as well. Putting my feet up, having your feet, like I'll just put my feet up on a wall and I'll lay down next to the wall. And then the cold plunge, but the cold plunge helps immediately. Like I should see if I can take a video of it. I don't know if it'd be that profound, but my lower leg is pretty clearly swollen. And then I put my legs, my all the way up to my knees. I put my leg in there, and when I come back out, I can actually see the tendons in my feet, and I don't have a cankle at that moment because it gets.
I want to do some before and afters, just like literally like wake up, take a photo, and then go plunge and get out and take another photo.
Like you're all sad.
My face looks completely different, after a plunge. I don't know what
100%.
happens, but
I agree with that.
yeah.
You guys had any psychedelic fun since the last time we talked? Because I know you guys are into
Oh,
that.
interesting question.
Yeah.
You want to tell them about our journey, Ryan?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
we have. We did a local place here. It's called Shaw Mines. They're a ketamine treatment center.
what are they called? Shaw Mines?
Shaw Mines.
Mines.
They're in like Midtown, downtown
Beautiful,
Sacramento.
beautiful
Here in
spot.
Sacramento.
Great
Yeah.
people. Yep.
I've
Midtown.
gone a number of times. I think I've been about 5 times. But then Mike and I just went last week together. Awesome experience. You go in. It's everything you would think. It's this beautiful kind of clinic, but the rooms are all set up with couches and
Everyone's very, very nice.
very nice,
Very
so
nice.
comforting.
Very
Psychedelic lights in your room. You go in and they, take your vitals, take your blood pressure, kind of talk to you, check in. Sometimes they'll do some breath work with you prior, really ground you in, and then they, give you a good injection of ketamine. You get your,
Injection?
You can do
Right into the vein in your neck.
You can do IV drip.
You can do IV,
intermuscular
Snorting?
no, that's not.
That's the only way I've done
the,
ketamine
That's
before.
only at home.
yeah.
Only at home.
Okay.
It's a very different. So like intermuscular is like the most intense form.
Yeah, it's a blast off.
It's the rapid onset.
It's
So
what
like
it's what you want.
if you've tried the oral, like, you're about 5% into what an IM experience is going to be. I mean, it's a full on disassociation. Like ketamine's a fascinating one.
I have done DMT, ayahuasca, mushrooms, LSD. This is the strongest psychedelic experience I have ever had by far. In terms of the visual taking you out of your mind and body, I have ever had. It was so mind-blowing. And in 50 minutes, literally chilling, chatting with Ryan, going, "Hey, how was that, man?" I was like, "Whoa, that was crazy." And we go to dinner, and after dinner, I am completely back to normal.
Is it scary? Like mushrooms can get a little.
I mean,
Heard of K-holes?
I'm sure it's different for everyone.
Yeah,
Like
it's not like that though. Like psychedelics typically can get squirrely and confusing. Ketamine is its own thing. It's not that. It goes in you're so disassociated with your own life and your body. That's why it's good for depression. You're just so sucked out into a void and on this just wild ride. You're just taken by it, and you're listening to this awesome music, and you're just sort of like having an experience. And I'm like, well, I'm not Michael. I'm not a human. Like, what am I? And then you just come back, and all of a sudden you're back in your body.
Do you get introspect? Yeah. When you talk about the visuals and stuff, because, okay, I have done ketamine once. It was a few years ago with some friends on a beach, and it was snorted, and didn't feel anything like that. Everything was still super clear, nothing. It just felt like, oh, wow, I'm in a puffy cloud.
Yep.
That's it, right?
Yep.
But this
is so different.
Very
way
different.
Yeah. It's such a higher dose. Like he's saying, probably like 10x the snorting experience, if not more. But it's like an incredibly safe drug.
Yeah.
Right? They use
Do you
it.
feel it's addicting, or is it?
I think if you have, like the people can get like the snorters, like you can just have it in like a spray bottle. Like I'm sure it can be quite addicting.
Oh,
But
that's
this-
problematic.
I think
this
anything
isn't,
can
right?
become out.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
use it. I don't think
Yeah.
from an addictive, from like a actual, like your body needs it and craves it. Like maybe say like, a
Caffeine or
Vicodin
something.
or something like that, where it's like your body actually is like, I need this, or
Right.
alcohol. But I think, I mean, like anything, how are you using it? Why are you using this? Is this, am I addicted to the escapism that's
Yeah,
coming into
exactly.
this?
That's what it is.
And, or is it like, I use it as a pattern interrupter in my life. Like I love this facility. It takes all the stress out. Like I am in a safe place with professionals and they dose me correctly and there's nothing I have to worry about. But to me, it's like, it just...
I want to take it for a run.
Dude,
would I end up in like Michigan or something?
I can connect you with them if you guys want to get in.
But is that a bad idea to take it on a run? Like,
oh, take it on a run.
yeah, like
Yeah, like
actually go
literally.
running.
I thought you were like, I want to take it for a
just
run. I want to
depends
I want to give it a whirl. Like
It depends on the dose, right?
it's actually ketamine
Intermuscular.
can make you pretty wobbly. Like you kind of
Yeah.
disassociate. So it's a little like you can almost get sea legs.
I like it even better.
It's fun to dance. It's fun. It's a good dancing drug.
Totally.
If someone's already on like SSRIs and that sort of thing and like medications, is this something that they can still do, or is it something that like
I think I think ketamine can. Some of the other psychedelics like ayahuasca and some of these that's not want to be mixing that.
I don't think it's an issue.
I don't think it is, but you know
There are some contraindications, so do your research.
Yeah, exactly. But that's who they mostly work with.
Yeah.
Is people.
Right.
You know, it's not Mike and I going in that have a pretty strong mental health side, pretty stable, using it for more of growth and development. Where a lot of people are going in like, no, I am severely depressed, and I've done everything, and I don't know how to break out of this. So a lot of them are on medication.
Yeah.
So
What about Iboga?
I have
I
not.
haven't done that one.
No.
It's on the list.
Yeah, we had a guy on our show that was really good. He has a treatment center down in Mexico, and he was explaining all the benefits to us. It was really, really interesting.
That one's like the one that my best bud did it recently, and that one, it's like usually I'm like I'm in. I want to go in. That one has this like whoa
Challenging.
like you know, when you're doing the Iboga style, I mean, it's like a 72-hour experience. Like you're going 3 straight days and you're just in it. And it's a whole new, it's
like
Mount
finding-
Rushmore of,
Yeah, it's like finding a portal, right? Like, do you really want to go like 3 days into the future or something? Like, what's the ramifications of this? And can you go back or whatever it might be? You know,
it's going to open it up. I mean, there's, you know, I believe in these substances when used with good intentions. Like it's always going to be, even if it's challenging on the other side, it will still be positive, but it's, you know, that one to me, I'm like, whew, it's not calling me right at this moment. So.
What was your guys' intention when you tried ketamine? Like, was that the first time for you
to
both?
get
or
fucked up.
I think so. So how this one came, I mean, Mike and I, we have like our background together has been psychedelics has been like a commonality.
Yeah.
We've done them together, whether it be ayahuasca or mushrooms, and it's been a connecting tool for us. So for me, I had gone months ago, and during my experience, I had been like, oh, you need to come do this with Mike. You know, we get so caught up in the business, like where we're business. We're friends first and foremost. And it's like, we need to, you know, he moved down to San Diego. So it's like, how are we creating intentional time that we can go outside of the company and like really connect with each other? And so that's where it came to me like, oh, go do this with this is what you guys want to go do. So I set that up. So that was kind of my like bigger overarching intention. I think this time I had kind of with my actual intention was like, I feel like I've been tasked with a lot of big decisions. That's just consistent, like, but clarity in decision making, not like the answer in the decisions, but like just being steadfast in my decisions. That was kind of my intention going in.
I think if you're looking for a lot of wisdom and life-changing, you know, whatever, you know, your ayahuasca, your mushrooms, acid are probably better tools. Ketamine is, like he's saying, the pattern interrupter. For me, it was that just curiosity. We've heard how strong of an experience it is, but also it's like this is the safest environment. It's like those two things, like my curiosity to like one of the strongest psychedelics and like this is completely safe. Like I'm doing it, right? Like I'm too curious. All these things sort of like allow access into like these different parts of your mind. And I've always found they are helpful. And so why not see what's there?
What's been your experience? Like, how are they helpful? What do you feel it's maybe revealing to you? Because that's what I've felt doing things like mushrooms and LSD and stuff like that. It feels like it's holding a mirror up to you, which is very uncomfortable, by the way. But it's not like a mirror reflection. It's like a literal, real reflection of yourself. And it's like, shit, man, it really kind of makes you reinvestigate and rethink maybe the way you're acting and just the way you're treating people and those kinds of things. Have you guys had similar experiences?
100%,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been,
well said.
I think to me, it's more of getting into that subconscious. Like I live so much here and think this is everything that's happening, where 95% of the show is actually happening on a level that I can't see. And this just provides a window into that.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's really challenging. Sometimes, and it's just such a curated personal experience, that it's for me. Like in every single person's psychedelic experience, like, it's going to be very different. And so but you get this curated, personalized tool to go in, and it could be whatever you want. Like I'm not saying psychedelics is just for, people can use it just for silliness and goofiness. And like I've used that too for fun and laughter. It can be a tool for that. Or do I take it in with like, I actually want to go in and develop myself and learn new insights of how patterns that I have, things that I'm not aware of. So it's been massive for me. I mean, whether it's stemming to better relationships and understanding my parents more, which in turn helps me understand myself more, to like me as a person and how I actually show up, like how people engage with me, how I speak to people, to the depth of like my spirituality and who am I as a human and what am I, like, what is this life to me? So it's, and it varies every single time. So it's to say like they are some of the greatest tools that I've ever worked with.
I think those are scary things for most of us to like look into or examine. So maybe a lot of people just kind of truck on with their normal day.
It is
and
scary.
maybe don't want to tap into any of that. Yeah, it's scary whether you try psychedelics or whether you just stop and think about any of it.
Totally.
Either way.
I get scared every time I go in, which is why.
Really?
Every time. Like I get fearful. Like I'll cry a lot before. Like, cause it's like, whether it's like my ego knowing like, man, you're going to be different after this. But I have ultimate faith into it. But it's like, it's an environment. It's similar to go back to Cold Plunge. It's like, it's a micro adversity. Like this life is pretty fucking, like we've created so much comfort, and to go in with the ultimate roll of the dice of like, I don't know what's coming, but I'm going to go face that. And that is like, that's the exercise for me. And yes, all the growth, all the things that I just mentioned come from it, but the actual fact of stepping into something scary that I'm uncomfortable with and I'm going to show up, that to me is the kind of the crux for me.
I think what you get a lot of times is just clarity. Like in a simple analogy, it's just like this flashlight that you can kind of shine around, and it's like, I want to know what's in the corner. I want to know what's under the rug, or in my normal consciousness, I'm not seeing it. It's like, oh, show me the blind spot. Great. Thank you. It can be hard, but you come away with an insight and something you didn't know was there. And now you can actually go act differently or whatever.
Yeah. It is really cool because like years ago, I was the kind of guy who, if I heard you guys having this conversation, I'd be like, man, these white guys are crazy. Like they're fucking wild out here doing fucking acid and all this shit. Like they got issues, okay? But like after I did some mushrooms, right? It's not something I do a crazy amount of, and I've done higher doses a few times, but it's something that did allow me to be more comfortable being less reserved, because I'm an individual who likes to have control over the way I come across, and just, I mean, I didn't used to let a lot of that out. And one of the lasting things that I've seen, that I've noticed about myself, is like, I am just much more okay with just being myself and not worrying of, is this person going to think I'm weird? Are they going to think I have, like, I don't really think about that anymore. And that's really cool that stayed.
Probably think you're weird if you're thinking that they think you're weird.
Right.
You'll probably be like uptight and maybe act differently
or
than
too
normal.
fucking stoic and too like that type of shit, you know? But it's really cool how it helps you, whatever you think you're dealing with, it helps you come to terms with it. It helps you kind of see that, and then it's your choice whether you do make changes from that. You know? It's cool. It's pretty dope.
How about for you, Andrew?
Yeah, it's the again, like the being present, being in the moment, just like in the Cold Plunge. My drug of choice is breathwork, and I've had the craziest psychedelic experiences doing that as opposed to mushrooms or any. I haven't done anything. I've done mushrooms, and that's about it. But one of the things that like I went into one of these experiences was like, all right, I need you to help me get over the fact that my mom has cancer. Like, okay, we need to like work through this because this is all brand new. Like, this is going to be tough. And in this experience, like I literally have conversations with angels and shit. Like, it is wild, and it's a lot of fun.
Breathwork?
Doing just breath work. And what they told me, they were just like, hey, like, you can still text her right now. You can call her right now. Why are you so sad about what's going to happen after? You have so much opportunity right now. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's right. So after I got out of it, I'm like, dude, I need to go do this. So for me, it's just like being super grateful about what I currently have, not wanting more. You know, so it kind of like slaps me in the face and it's like, dude, you are doing so good right now. Like, keep leaning more into that. Like, keep leaning into the things that you have access to right now. So, like, again, kind of going back, it puts me in the present moment and it helps me appreciate this moment right now. And that's what these experiences have helped me do, like, way better. I've tried stacking breath work with mushrooms. It didn't really work out very well. Mainly, not like nothing bad happened, but like, I wasn't focused on doing breath work for a little while, so I took some time off. And then I was like, oh, here we go. I'm going to load up and I'm going to, stack these things on top of each other. I got in there and they're like, hey, we know what you're doing right now. You're trying to cheat the system by taking some other stuff. What you need to do is just do the work and keep coming back more often. And I saw nothing. And I wasted, like, not wasted, but I went through an hour of like just darkness where normally I see colors, I see people, I see all kinds of shit. This time it was just like, all right, lesson learned. I got it. Got the message. So that's pretty cool.
Have you tried some pretty good dosage of kratom with your breath work?
No, I have not actually. Dang.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Probably
For me,
happy.
For me, kratom just always hits about the same way. Every once in a while, I guess if I had like food or something, it might alter it slightly, but it's a little bit like caffeine for me, where it just seems to give me, like, every time I take it, I'm like, that just works, Sometimes I'm like, maybe I take too much of this, and I try to be, reasonable as I can with it. But I'm also like, it feels good, feels like it works. Use it appropriately.
Have you used it with breathwork?
I've never used it with breathwork. I've only done like a little bit of breathwork stuff before, and I just have I think I have a difficult time like getting in deep into the breath work unless I'm in the cold. So I can feel like kind of psychedelic like effects in the cold plunge with doing some breath work, but haven't been able to tap into it as much I don't like to like, I don't know. I don't like to like calm down that much. Like I am, I'm definitely full on dad and like dad mode 100%, but like I don't like sit in the recliner and like fall asleep, like I just, my body doesn't want to do that. It doesn't want to like.
It probably plays a factor into, I think, that sickness side of it. You're probably sitting in that kind of more sympathetic side.
Yeah.
So you have a constant thread of adrenaline in your body, which they've shown is like a really strong, wall. It's an immune system. It aids in the immune system.
I always get sick when I go on vacation.
Yeah. Right. Jocko was talking about that. I don't know if you guys caught that at all, but he was explaining that, like, I think he was with Huberman. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm way off.
A lot of times it's sleep deprivation too.
Jocko is always 1,000 RPMs nonstop, and same thing. He's like, every time I go on vacation, that's when I get sick. So I'm pretty sure it was Huberman. What he was explaining was like, your stress level is always very high. Therefore, your body is like, we need to protect this guy. And then when that stress goes away, your immune system's like, cool, we could chill. Yep. And when you chill, that's when you get sick. So the example they gave is that the mother who husband gets sick, got to take care of him. Oh, now the kids get sick, got to take care of them. Everyone's sick. She's not. And then everyone starts feeling better. They all get through the sickness. Her stress level drops. And then what happens? She gets sick. So she's always the last one to get sick because her stress level is always very high. Yeah. So it's wild. So for that's why going in the cold plunge on a regular basis.
Totally.
The healthy stress.
Yes.
You need to fill it in, whether it's like a really hard workout or cold plunges or like some things to create stress in your body when you're in vacation mode.
Yeah.
I also am like, I don't feel stressed. So it's really, really rare for me to like feel, I don't know, stress or anxiety. So I think I just have extra energy because I don't waste energy on really anything. I don't, like with business and stuff, I don't look at numbers. I just don't care. My wife actually sometimes she'll bring stuff up to me and I'm just like, don't. Like, I don't care.
It's the holy grail. It's like you want your body to be stressed out, but not have it live
Right.
Yeah.
here. It's like that's the ultimate. It's
Yeah.
like stress that's hormesis. Like that's what you are wanting. That's why we work out.
Yeah.
That's why you go for a run. That's why you cold plunge. You're trying to stress
It helps,
your body
but it's
out.
not great to be dead inside all the time.
But dude, what you're saying there is really interesting because like when you look at your life, man, like you came and you ran 8 miles this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you came and you did a cold plunge for a few minutes, and then you did a workout with us, and now you're podcasting. You're probably gonna do other shit today. And when you say the phrase, I don't feel stressed, what you're saying is like you do not perceive, because it's stress, but you just don't perceive it negatively. Like all the things you're doing, your perception of that isn't a negative perception. Is that right? Or
Yeah,
am I
those are all things that I was really excited to do today.
Yeah.
Those are all, and I kind of feel that way almost every day.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just like anybody else, there might be a couple things that pop into my day that I have to go do, like go to the DMV or something stupid like that. But yeah, for the most part, and even that, like that kind of stuff, I'll just look at it as if it's like kind of comical. Like I'm going to walk in and I know I have an appointment, but
They're not going to have it.
they're not going to have any record of it. I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to be behind like tons of people, and it's just going to be mayhem in there. And then when I walk in and see that, I'm just going to fucking laugh about it, because I'll be like, yeah, I knew I was going to get fucked today.
Called it. Yeah. I was just thinking, because like, yeah, when we're talking about the stress of a workout, stress of the cold plunge, stress of whatever, like if Mark gets stuck in traffic when he has to be somewhere, normally a normal person might be like cussing out the person in front of them, honking or whatever. Mark's probably like, cool, I get to listen to this podcast. You know, like he doesn't, that type of stress just bounces right off of him.
That's just mindset.
Yeah.
It's just like perspective. It's incredible.
Who was that researcher who we were talking about one day where she did the research on how certain people see stress as like this stress, like when I do jujitsu, when you do running, you know that I'm going to have a benefit after I do this, right? When we do certain things that are stressful, like cold plunging, it may actually be physically stressful, but on the other side of this, it's going to be beneficial. So we interpret that as being something good for us rather than something that's going to break us down. And that it takes time to constantly reinterpret, but that makes a huge difference.
I heard a quote kind of recently, and it really made me maybe just like rethink a lot of stuff. And the quote said, "If you're so smart, why aren't you happy?" I was like, holy fuck, man. That's incredible. Like that was an incredible quote. Like people read a lot of books, they do a lot of thinking, they go to universities, they do a lot of school, they get as much education as they can, and all those things are awesome. But if they kind of aren't leading you to, not that you have to chase happiness, but if not leading you to have a net positive, net happy life, then maybe none of it's worth it.
Totally. Naval talks about that a lot. Naval. You
Oh,
familiar
yeah.
with Naval?
Mhm.
Might even be his quote, but he talks about like,
He has a lot of quotes on Twitter, and then I think he's been on Joe Rogan before.
yeah, he's a great,
Philosopher, yeah.
philosopher, a great business individual too. He created Angels List. But he, that's his thing, is like, happiness. Like he speaks in the same way. Like if you're so intelligent, like that is intelligence, is actually, are you happy?
What's the goal? It reminds me of Andrew Yang. His actual goal was like health and happiness for people.
Yeah, it's like outside of GDP,
whoa, wait, what?
it's like, how do we measure society's health
Exactly.
and happiness?
It's like, I've just never heard that from a politician. And that should be the goal, right? Like you're saying, like everyone's so smart, like what is your goal? And like a lot of people by default have it be, money, or you're chasing the next thing. And what is the goal?
Well, health, I think, is like the foundation, right? Like if you don't have the health, you can't enjoy the wealth. If you don't have the health, you can't enjoy really much of anything.
I'm always so impressed with people that though are not healthy, and they just have this like they're these anomalies to me that are like so happy. You know what I'm talking about? Like someone that's like just whoever it is, it's like they're maybe really obese or something, but they're just like so joyous. I'm like, what's that secret going on there? Because I very much like, if I feel off health wise, like I'm just
It's such a rarity, though.
I'm such an asshole.
Most people I come into, or I'm like, this person's electric. Like they're usually like
Totally.
very fit. It's usually like high cardio.
Yep.
Like you're a huge runner or cyclist or something. It's like always something like that. It's very rare to find the overweight person.
Totally.
Do you guys think that, I'm just curious from of your perception of this, do you think that you do need, because there's an aspect where I think about this, maybe we're jaded since we're in fitness and we feel there's such a need for this, because like from what you said there too, I couldn't imagine like not having my physical habits that tie into my mental habits to feel good, right? But see, like the person you mentioned, right, that even though they're extremely out of shape or extremely unhealthy, they're still extremely happy. Do you think you need to use your body physically to maybe the extent that we do, or to a part of that, to be happier?
I don't think there's an absolute answer to that.
Yeah.
I think from my experience, it is your odds are exponentially higher if you are moving your body, sweating, using that physical for aligning to have to be mentally stable or be happy. So I think from my experience, that's all I can speak from. Like when I'm not being physically like moving, and whether it's just long walks, like, and I'm, whatever the movement is, I'm not as happy. Like this isn't a chemical erector set that's going on in here, and it's just pulling the right lever. So for me, it's been essential for me.
I think the body is designed, like the body, mind, and spirit is designed to burn an equal amount of calories that it consumes. So you have like your kind of like resting metabolic rate, which means like just calories from doing nothing. But I think that literally you got to expend, just in general, probably about 1,000 calories a day almost. I think it's ingrained into our DNA. I think it's like part of being human. I think locomotion is way undersold, and it's just extremely helpful. Some sort of motion, like you can go and like lift, and you can, I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do. But I think they used to say that people used to move like 5 to 7 miles a day, and that might even be really modest. So you have like, what is the calorie expenditure associated with traveling in a pack with your family with a little bit of weight on your back? Maybe you're holding a child and you're, going from one area to another, just as we probably did hundreds and thousands of years ago. There was so much, like, especially here in America, there was so much like building, and there was just so much shit going on that like, there was people working on the railroad, there was construction workers, there was just people fucking riding horses to deliver mail. I mean, like the list of shit goes on of like the amount of activity that it took to bring this place to the spot that it's at now, where we have the luxury of not expending those calories. But I think that motion is ingrained in there somewhere, and I think that's why when some people start to get in motion, they get so obsessed with it. It's like a psychedelic in there. Like it's in your fucking brain. I've talked to some people that swim, and I'm talking to some people that run, and I don't know what the connection, and fighting definitely falls in that category. There's problem solving going on, and then there's also, I have this weird idea that there's some sort of particular motion that your body needs to go through every day. And it has something to do with like your hands and feet being kind of far apart from each other, away from the midline of your body, and your body twisting. I've heard Joe Rogan kind of describing it, and he's just like talking really generally, but he's talking about like wringing out stress and anxiety. That's fucking running. It's like you're literally wringing out your body, like I was showing you guys with that continuous rope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're
pulling that rope, like that spinal twisting that you're doing. And David Weck and all these people that are so enthusiastic about these kind of movement patterns. I think that's why we're nuts about it. I think that you have to.
Feels good to run, dog. Like,
yeah.
After I started running again, because like you started running, I was like, I got to bring running back into it. And I've been doing jujitsu for years already, but getting my running gait back and that feeling, when you get your gait back and when you feel good running, it just feels so fucking good. Even if you're not running for fucking like 10 miles or whatever, I'll just do 2-mile runs, but it feels so damn good afterwards, even during.
You guys ever rock climb?
I've done
That would be
bouldering a few
incredible,
times.
but
Dude, it's such a unique, amazing feeling. You're talking about contorting your body. It's all about your form, and it's using every single muscle in your body. And you get off and you got the cardio when you're doing top rope,
A little bit of danger.
a little bit of danger, you got the adrenaline going, and you got your muscles, and you get off and it's social. To me, it's the ultimate for me.
It's
of
hard. Like
how you
figuring
feel.
out where to put your foot.
Oh, dude,
and
the form is, you could be totally skinny and short. It doesn't matter. If your form is immaculate, like, dude, you're climbing insane stuff. It's wild with the geometry and the physics of what the body can do with just like strong grip. Yeah, I love rock climbing.
That shit's weird. How far up have you climbed and stuff?
I
like
mostly just climb in gyms. It's
Okay.
like, 30, 40 feet up, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, that to me is, I haven't done to that extent really. I mean, I have done it in a gym before, but I've never done it like outside. But just thinking of like times where I've done stuff like that where I probably shouldn't have because it wasn't very safe. But just even thinking about like, where do I put my foot next? And then you see the guy in front of you, you're like, he put his foot there. I should be able to do that. Then you put your foot there and your whole body starts to shake and you're like, oh shit, I don't know about, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
That's
I think
really
I
interesting.
think it's similar to jiu-jitsu where it's the chest with the body and the mind and you're just so present and you're just locked in and you're done and you just feel amazing.
That'd be another way for you to kill people. It's rock climb.
You need a high level of body control, man.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about jujitsu and rock climbing and running is that like when I bouldered a few years ago, I went a few times. You see so many people with so many
with
different
Griffin,
body
right?
types.
So many different body
Chris
types.
was into it.
With Chris
Kids,
Griffin.
80-year-olds, seriously, like men, women, completely split. That's what I love about it.
And think about that too. Like, I mean, you can lift until old age too. But when I think of a lot of these things nowadays, I think about what are the different types of movements your body's doing. And one of the reasons why I want people to do jujitsu so much is because there's so much variability, so many different body types you're rolling with. But rock climbing, now that you mention it, all these different ways you're grabbing and putting your feet in different places. You got to imagine as you get older, that is a super healthy practice, like to be able to do, I got to get back into it. Fuck.
Let's do it.
I'm glad you reminded me.
What about sleep? You guys have decent sleep habits? They suck? Where you guys stand with that?
I sleep really well. Sleep's been I was the kid, would go to parties when I was young, sleepovers, and I'd go to sleep first. So sleep's that's a dream for me.
You've been locked in since you were a kid, huh?
Yeah, I'm in bed by 8:30.
Yeah, me too.
Same here.
Yeah. Eating early I eat by like 5:30.
That's what I should be doing.
That's the key, I think.
Yeah.
CBD helps. Those are the big ones.
CBD and THC?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, 1 second. You said so.
Well,
Okay.
what we're taking the cured stuff.
Company
it's
from Cure.
a different cannabinoid.
They have like
THC.
CBN in there.
CBN is in there. It's a really nice one.
CBN.
What's the company? What's it called?
Cured.
Cured.
Cured is the company. They have a nightcap that's tremendous.
They're incredible. Really best I've had for like sleep from like a CBD side. And there is some level CBD, it has to have less than 0.03% of THC in it. So there is like trace THC in it, for it not to be labeled with THC. I don't utilize THC very often, like hardly ever. But yeah, it's a nice, especially if I've had like a night or two that wasn't optimal and I need that sleep, like I will take one of those and just have incredible dreams and sleep through the night.
Do you guys use like a chili pad or like an 8 Sleep?
8
8
sleep.
sleep.
Those are that's
clutch.
the biggest like game thing you could buy.
Yeah.
It's total game changer because you just get hot in the middle of the night otherwise, right?
Dude, I'm a hot sleeper. I used to like fucking wet the bed with my sweat. It was somewhat embarrassing at times.
That's the worst.
It is not fun. It is not fun at all.
You wake up, you're like, holy fuck. I was hot underneath those blankets.
Yeah.
You can't sleep. How come you can't sleep without a blanket? I mean, you kind of can, but it's kind of hard.
It's weird, right?
Like the blankies, like comfy.
Did we always have blankets like back in the day? Like they didn't
I don't
have
know.
blankets. It's cavemen,
Y'all sleep with clothes on? Or naked?
Maybe.
boxers.
Boxers.
Yeah. I like a little home for the boys.
I agree.
It's like it's a little too can't be too free.
I go shorts, no
Rattling around.
boxers.
You go shorts and boxers?
Shorts, no boxers.
Shorts, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Let them kind of roll around. Yeah.
You guys are big mouth tape guys too, right?
Yeah, we got
Oh,
some
yeah.
hostage tape for you guys right here. Kabang.
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
We're giving it to everybody that comes. Dog.
Bang.
I know we were talking from
Got a few other ones over here.
about
these are
those
eye
are
masks.
There's nothing in here.
Oh no.
Well, because it's right here.
Yeah, man.
These are just TV
Empty.
props.
Did this take you guys a while to get used to? Because I did the Somniflex for a couple nights, and it was like I was having weird dreams about it.
All right, so tell me. So, do you feel uncomfortable when you tape your mouth shut at night? Like, does it make?
Yeah, like my
you
mouth naturally kind of wants to be open, like based on my bite. So I feel like the mouth tape for me it's a little tough, but
You're
maybe I
not.
just need to do like a week straight and get over a hump with
You're
it.
definitely not wrong. The jaw does relax when you fall asleep, and it's supposed to. It's supposed to relax. But having your lips like kind of glued together or taped together in this case is going to still allow that jaw to relax. Like your whole face will still relax into your sleep. But the mouth tape is really easy to use. You just kind of pull it apart here, and then you just kind of stick it on the lips, and it's just enough to keep the lips together. Both of you guys have facial hair, so sometimes with some of the other products that we've used in the past, we've had issues, and Nsima had to kind of like tape himself up like a crazy person. Yeah, it's like kind of hard to get it to stay on there, but we've noticed a big difference with these, so we think you guys will really like it a lot.
I'm gonna give it a whirl.
Sick. Yep.
Yeah, just give it a few nights. I know we were talking. Give it just, even though it feels uncomfortable, give it a few nights, because like if your mouth can just stay closed, dog, you sleep well now. You'll sleep way
I
better.
do the nose, the
Breathe right.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
right.
smart to do. Yeah, that's
yeah.
really
Do you guys
great.
do those too?
Yeah, I do.
I got big ass nostrils,
You
so
don't
I don't
need it.
necessarily need it. But I do notice that I breathe a little better when I have it on.
Yeah.
I know you love it.
I haven't used those in a while, but
Maybe you don't need
probably
it
be
after you're taping it long enough. Like maybe you don't even need it, right?
it'd probably be a good idea for me, especially when I'm running. Because I'll
James
run with the
Nestor
mouth tape
talks
on.
about in his book Breathe. Like once you're breathing through your nose enough, like stuff just keeps opening up.
Yeah, that's what, like I was telling Ryan that when I started mouth taping like 3 or 4 years ago, what I noticed is like the nights that I would forget to use it, sleep quality wouldn't be as good, right? But after, first off, I got in the habit of using it, so I never forgot to use it. If there was a random night that I would forget, I noticed I wake up in the morning, but my mouth wasn't dry, because now I'm perpetually breathing through my nose when I sleep. Like I don't have that habit of having my mouth drop open. Now I'll still fucking use mouth tape just because it's like it's another security to make sure my mouth doesn't fall open, but I'm used to it now. Like I nasal breathe when I sleep now, which is dope.
And you adapted immediately?
No.
No, it took you a little while
It took me-
to. I'm saying when you
Oh,
wore
to mouth
this,
tape?
like when you mouth taped first night, you were sleeping good with it.
Yeah, for me, it didn't give me anxiety. It like I know there are some people like my girl. It's like she it makes her feel like closed off and stuff. But for me, it didn't give me any anxiety, so I slept well. But for some people, I think they just need to use it a little more.
Yeah, or
Yeah, you got
like,
used to it.
yeah, use it during the day at some point. Like maybe like before bed, if you're gonna watch a show or something, just throw it on, just so that way you can understand that you're not gonna like die by wearing a little bit of mouth tape.
Yeah. Do you mouth breathe at all during the day?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I mean when I'm like intentionally, like I try and bring my thoughts back to it and go focus on my nose, but yeah, I mean I'll tend to kind of mouth breathe. Yeah. That's a
Actually, keep it on a lot of times, like in the morning, because I'm the only one awake, and I'm like, I might as well just keep it on. I'll go on the cold plunge with it on. So now it makes it a little harder. I gotta try to breathe just in and out of the nose. Obviously, if there's someone awake, then I feel like I gotta talk. I gotta talk to them. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I think. You guys are going to notice a big difference with it, and it does take a little while, and it might end up sideways on your face, and you might have to mess with it here and there, but over time you're not going to want to sleep without it.
awesome.
Sick.
Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy.
Sure thing. Make sure you guys stick around for Smelly's tip before we get out of here. Don't want to miss that. But let us know what you guys think about today's conversation. Drop all those comments down below. Let us know what you guys think about cold plunging if you guys have done it. Make sure you guys check out the links in the description, so that way you can go check out the cold plunge for yourself. And subscribe if you guys are not subscribed, and hit the like button on the way out. Follow the podcast at MB Power Project on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. My Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where are you at? And tell them about powerproject.live.
I will, but I forgot to bring this up because you guys you're going to be making what is it again?
Snorkel. Oh.
Okay, so you said that you actually cold plunge like in that style every morning, right?
Yeah. Every morning I take a few deep breaths and then pop in the snorkel. Got a little nose plug, and we actually have 2 different tips for the snorkel. So there's like 8 millimeter, which is like the pro smaller one. Then there's a 10 kind of starter, or you just do none and you just got a snorkel.
Yeah.
I turn off the plunge, so it's quiet. So there's no pump going. I'm at like 50 degrees because my head's in, and you want it to be a little. If you're normally plunging at like 40 or something, I would recommend going up to like 45 if you're going to do a full like snorkel 3 minutes.
Can give you a headache, right?
Give you a headache, and then just work down from there. If you're good, you're good. But I go in and really just try to take really big breaths and breathe out slow, and I just try to slow my breathing down throughout it. And at the end, I mean, my breaths must be 10, 15 seconds long, and I'm holding my breath like you do. You hold your breath for a while and slowly let it out, and it becomes so meditative. And like I saw you in there today with a straw, you were just so zen. At a certain point at the end, your breaths got really slow. You could have stayed in for much longer, I could tell.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where you're not cold. Then you're just chilling, and you're just focusing on your breath in and out. And it's so meditative and peaceful, and I just look forward to it. And it's cool. I'm excited to sell the snorkel and see, who enjoys it.
I'm very excited for that, because doing it with a straw, if you do it wrong, you're like, I got a little bit of water in my mouth today because it slipped out. Yeah. But it's interesting because it is a slightly different cold plunge experience. Right. It's a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
But check it out, guys. At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Go to our website, powerproject.live, for all our shit. Ryan, Mike, where can people find you guys?
Instagram at Ryan A. Duey. I also have a podcast, The Journey.
Hey.
Spotify, check it out. Those are the main 2 spots. And find us at thecoldplunge.com.
So coldplunge.com. Hit us up.
All right.
I forgot to mention, on Joe Rogan, he had David Goggins on, and I think they were talking about the cold plunge. And he mentioned Hickson Gracie goes in there and dunks his head and all that kind of stuff. But they also mentioned that there was a guy that fixed his like PSA, I think, which is has sometimes negative association to your prostate. And the guy did cold plunging for like 3 minutes every morning and seemed to have not only altered that, but also I think he increased his testosterone levels. So again, this is like a one of one. This is a guy that went out of his way to do it. But if you listen to that episode, you could find some of that information. I just think it's really interesting. Who the hell knows?
We had a guy at Reboot who he had an unlimited membership to cryo, and he had a prostate issue and go to his doctor. He did cryo every day, and he went to his doctor over and over, and it went away. Didn't have a prostate issue. Because it's connected to inflammation completely.
Damn, dog.
But yeah, testosterone's a big one too.
Freeze that up.
Have you guys, sorry, I know we're trying to get out of here, but like, have you guys noticed anyone reporting like a libido boost after getting in and out of the cold plunge on a regular basis? Because I definitely can feel that. I don't know what it is, but like I get out of the shower and I'm like chasing my wife down.
Your dick gets smaller, huh?
I don't know what it is.
I've heard it. I've heard that.
Okay, yeah, okay.
It's a bounce back.
Yep.
Yeah, something's going on there. It could be. Yeah, it takes that momentum and just fucking runs with it.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having us on.
It was fun.
The Smelly tip for today is about accommodating resistance. I made a post about it on my Instagram, which is at MarkSmellyBell. I talked about utilizing bands and chains. The weights are lighter at the bottom. They're heavier at the top. The same exact thing occurs when you utilize something like the slingshot. I want to encourage people to look into some elbow sleeves, knee sleeves, things like the slingshot, obviously, because I sell those things and I'm a money hungry motherfucker, right? But these things can really be super beneficial for you because there's a lot of wear and tear that happens when you're training. And if you train smart and you can select exercises appropriately, you can utilize a little bit of equipment, maybe it's some bands, maybe it's some chains, maybe it's a slingshot. You can still train hard, you can still train heavy, and you can still be in pursuit of the things that you love. Strength is never a weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.
Peace.